But the Mavericks, they did avoid the drama because they kept the number 10 overall pick. In fact, they kept the exact pick that they needed to in order to remain in the top 10. Number 10.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, when we talk about the percentages on this, that was the far and away likelihood of this. I think it was something like 60% of the possibility was that they stayed right there at 10. So, yeah, when you
79.8%. That they stayed at 10, the 20.2%. Yeah, trust me, I was all over this. Yeah.
Well, 70.2% that they had a top 10 pick.
Yeah, it was almost 80%.
But like it was 60 of that 79% was right there at 10.
That's right.
Not 7.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
5.
Yeah, right.
Not 2.
Exactly.
Right there at 10. So this is the likely option.
Yes.
This is the one that we should have.
You're not going anywhere other than 10.
That's right. And I want to start with this question, KG.
Okay.
Are you happy about this? Because, like, again, we have been talking about this a lot, and the idea that, you convey this pick would mean that you open up some picks. Right now, because of the situations, right, you cannot trade back picks in back-to-back years. You've traded that, 29 pick? Your 2027 first-round pick is the only thing that's available to you, in addition to, obviously, this 10 pick on draft night, being able to trade that. Mm-hmm. Are you happy about the fact that they did not go ahead and convey this to the Knicks and now they have this pick available to move?
Yes.
Okay, upward inflection.
No, this is part of what has to be done in order to overhaul your roster right now. And you need as many available assets to be able to do that. And if you did not have a top 10 pick in this year's NBA draft, you would not really be able to do that given your circumstances right now, because this team is not expected to bring back Christian Wood. Dwight Powell's an unrestricted free agent. Maxi Kleber's, contract extension is going to be kicking in at the beginning of this upcoming season. Luka's already on his rookie max. Reggie Bullock's contract gets partially guaranteed in June. Like, you've got a lot of moving parts here that you've got to figure out a way to turn into a veteran player to help you win now, if you're going to remain in win now mode. The irony of all this is the two foundational pieces that they have that outside of Tim Hardaway Jr. could be looked at as your quote unquote best assets
Did you say that Tim Hardaway Jr. is a foundational piece?
No.
Okay. Because you said outside of. Okay.
In terms of your assets.
Got you.
Tim Hardaway's descending contract.
So I just need to figure out where you were talking about.
Yeah. I got you. Or Jaden Hardy and Josh Green. Oh, by the way, you drafted those two guys. So it's really kind of a weird spot to be in, that what has helped you kind of get to a position where you can have some things to maybe move and shake with are things that normal teams are able to do through the course of years, which is building through the draft, getting players on rookie contracts, and hoping that they turn into the kinds of players that will allow you to have sustained success for years to come. The Mavericks simply are not in that position because they've got a 24-year-old superstar who's a 4-time All-NBA first-team selection who wants to win now.
Yeah, you said all that, and the part that means the most is he is already on his second deal and the clock is ticking, right?
Yes.
So the idea that you have these young cats, you mentioned Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, it has taken the time that it has, 3 years for one, 2 years for the other, for them now to be guys that you go, okay, those are rotational pieces on probably a good team. Can you afford to do that level of weighting with whoever you get at 10? Understanding that this is a pretty deep draft, right? Like this is a pretty deep draft. You start talking about guys at 7, 8, or 9 that are like, oh man, you can put that dude in a team and see if maybe they can contribute early on. Tough part about that is like, contribute to what level, right? And how much are you asking? Because can we take stock of what you need as a Mavericks team? I think you were talking about this with Grant Avseth on another medium, but like you need a defensive anchor. So you need something in the paint. JaVale McGee gamble did not hit, right? You need defensive wings. You need shooting, right? Like you probably need somebody as a big that will also like operate in the pick and roll or just give you some level of presence in the paint. Like you need a few things, and I don't know that you're going to be able to answer all of those things. Nor is it fair to ask, one pick to answer all those things, but you've got a lot of things that you need to do. And with the timeline, it feels like drafting one of these players, which again, admittedly, you're probably going to have some interesting players available to you at 10. But I simply don't think that for what you need, for your purposes, drafting a pick does not feel like the best use of this particular asset. It seems like you need to use this to either get off of some money, which would be really heartbreaking, or to try and acquire some veteran talent to help you build to where you need to be.
Because this is a timeline-based decision with this number 10 overall pick. And what I mean is you don't necessarily have the time to wait for a number 10 overall pick, no matter how good he is, to develop to be a point of to get you to a point of contribution that allows you to do the kind of winning that you're expected to do with the superstar that you have. It may be best for them to flip this pick to get more win now help to be able to shorten that timeline to at least give your superstar confidence that you're moving in the right direction. Because this is about the only amount of step back that you should ever do if you're the Dallas Mavericks and this franchise after what happened this year. You took a step back defensively by going to get Kyrie Irving because you wanted to increase your eventual ceiling on offense with Luka and Kyrie together. You were able to tank just enough to keep your number 10 overall pick to at least give you some kind of asset to move to get you some win now help. You've got to be able to flip that into something that's going to help you, not just in the immediate, but also give more confidence for Luka Doncic that this is the place where he wants to ultimately remain, because there is a healthy fear, as we have heard reported, about what after 2024 could look like. Because it's funny, somebody I'd seen, it was either on Twitter or YouTube or something like that.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to drop some sources that you had. I was talking to somebody,
There'll be plenty of that this summer, trust me.
Oh, okay, wow, he's calling his shot. Wow.
You don't have to call it when you know it, but at the same time.
I like this. He's a little sassy today. I see you. He got a collared shirt on and everything. Put some sass on. I see you, KG. Go ahead.
The collared shirt is what got you there? That's what got you there?
No, but I felt like it added a little pizzazz
to
that.
Okay. That's cute. Appreciate that. So somebody had jumped in, and it's like, I think it was on Twitter or YouTube, something. The idea was like, look, what's going to happen here if Luka Doncic, is he really going to ask out at the age of 25 years old? Is he going to have the audacity to actually have that thought? Well, I mean, he did just complete his 5th season in the NBA. He's been a Rookie of the Year, as I mentioned already, a 4-time first-team All-NBA selection. And as you mentioned, he's on his rookie max extension already. We are in a window where a player going into his 6th season can start looking at the bigger picture and figuring out whether or not Damian Lillard, a team, is going to build around him for his future.
That shot was unnecessary.
Because the Portland Trail Blazers deserve that. Quick aside, I need them to go to blow that thing up. For the good of them.
Didn't they just get like the 3rd overall pick? Something like that?
Which is why they need to blow it up. Because you are not going to be in a position, hopefully.
Brandon Miller could play with them.
What? And think they're going to win now in the West? No. Anyway, I had to get that off real quick. But that's where the Mavericks are. Mm-hmm. Can you flip enough? Davis Bertans' contract, got to go.
Yeah, open up, 17 mil for you?
17, 18 mil, got to go. Tim Hardaway Jr. got a nice descending contract. Who wants it? Maybe pair that with the number 10 pick and find a way to get some help. But you've got to do something, because the timeline, as you said, is ticking for Luka Doncic, for him to continue to have confidence in this franchise.
Now, the tough thing about this, because I think we're both the Get Right show platform here is trade the pick, right? The problem is you need 2 to tango in all situations.
Sure.
So you would need to find a team that is willing to give you the adequate value that you want, or the proper players that fit what you need. If that's not the case, and they go the other way of let's draft a player, are there players that call to you here? Because I'm going to kind of draft from Bleacher Report's most recent mock draft, where they have mocked Kansas small forward Grady Dick to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
And that is a guy that absolutely has shot making and, can do a little bit of ball handling if necessary.
And seems very on brand.
Fair. No refuting that one. But no, he has a level of play. He has the size to play as a wing, which is something you desperately need. That's a player. In addition to that, around that area, Anthony Black is a name that's come up a lot. He's a guard, which kind of then falls into that area where we're talking about Luka and Kyrie, if you're able to do what the organization hopes. Or also, you could talk about the idea of someone like a Taylor Hendricks, which I saw on the truckwreck.com text line earlier, who is a power forward or a big man, I guess, if you want to just be a little more nebulous, from Central Florida, who is said to have a high floor and high ceiling, right? And, has the ability to kind of close out, or rather ability to drive past, close out, ability to shoot a little bit, which is something that's nice, a big that has a little bit of stretch to him. Any of those names kind of hit you and make you think, oh, I am interested in that, even if it's like maybe a 1 or possibly 2 year development curve for him to be a fully integrated to your team.
So I'll give you two. The one that's probably the most unrealistic, and the other one much more realistic given where the Mavericks are drafting. The most unrealistic one for me, because I don't think he'll fall to 10, Cam Whitmore from Villanova, is a forward that can shoot, can defend, got 3-and-D qualities. I like Cam Whitmore. And plus, Villanova dudes are ready to play today. Hello, Jalen Brunson. Hello, Mikal Bridges.
One of the last classes that will have gotten full tutelage from Jay Wright.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other one,
although he was a freshman, so he didn't play under Jay Wright.
Yeah.
But
The other one that is more realistic for me that could be there at 10 is Taylor Hendricks out of University of Central Florida. 6'9". Another guy that with 3-and-D qualities can shoot a little bit from 3.
Yeah.
That would be the more realistic one for me, because you need, what do you need? You need size in the middle.
Yes.
And you need guys that can defend on the wing and shoot.
Now, at 6'9", the tough part about it is if you bring him in here and you're like, hey, man, you're a big now, the big, then you end up being small again.
Well,
but
I wouldn't
if you could bring him in and have him play kind of like a 4, that helps kind of replace what you lost when you had to trade Dorian Finney-Smith. Give you an opportunity to have, and I don't want to make a one-to-one comparison on those guys, mind you, but give you a guy who could play the 4, who can maybe size up a little bit and possibly even size down a little bit when you need to go small and things of that nature. So I'm interested in that. And yes, I hear you from the 817. If they can't defend, I don't want to hear their names. I think some of that is the issue. You find yourself as a Mavs trying to fill a very big hole with all sorts of different, jagged edges.
And 10 is a tricky spot for them in this draft.
You cannot fill that with this singular pick. That's one of the issues with this, is that one of the reasons why you need to make trades. You need to be able to look elsewhere and be creative. This is a very creative hole that you've gotten yourself into, and it's going to take even more creativity to get out of it. So it's going to be really unfair to pick one of these players and go, all right, well, we need you to play defense. We need you to shoot. We need you to be able to guard all these other guys. We need you. There's too many things to fix on this roster to think that this 10 pick is going to do all of them.
This is why I believe the best route to go is to find a win now player and try to flip the asset into something that can give you some of those things while still having some other things to be able to utilize to maybe go get you, a big man that can help solve things in the middle a little bit. Because right now you're asking a lot of just this one particular thing to try and help fix what are a lot of woes on this Mavericks team, whether it be defensively or on the offensive end as well. From the 817, Taylor Hendricks is gone by 7. Book.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hendricks is gone by then, which is why that 7 to 10 range is about where you are. But as I mentioned real quick, 10 is tricky because you're at a spot where a lot of the guys like a Brandon Miller, obviously with...
It's a little bit of a cliff.
Yeah.
Right? Like the NBA draft is not like the NFL draft. The NBA draft, you will find a pretty hard cliff most of the times where you go, these are the elite players in this draft. Then these are like the very good players in this draft. Now we're talking about other folks. And we'll talk about like the first 4, I guess, in this draft.
Draft starts at 4 for me because it's Wemby, Scoot Henderson.
Maybe, because there's some things happening with... who was it they got 2? Charlotte. Yeah. The idea of having a point guard, also drafted with LaMelo Ball is a question, but one of either Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson at 2, the other one at 3, and then...
Although, we got to watch this Brandon Miller thing. I don't know if you saw the report today from Jonathan Cavoni of ESPN. Apparently, he's not meeting well with teams.
Yes, I heard that.
And he's not in shape either.
I didn't hear the in shape thing. Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
From the 214, trade the pick for Vucevic. I'm going to go back to the homie that said, if they can't defend, I don't want to hear their names.
I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah. Vucevic is not.
I see what you're trying to do, 214.
Defender. And that's the tough part. You're in a place where you are shopping exclusively for open box specials at this point, right? Like, you need to get value in ways. That was kind of what you did with Christian Wood. And, I hate to invoke that name because it didn't really go the way you wanted to. But, like, you are in this place where in order to be creative, you got to be a little... Look, I have been a person who's had to fill out your electronic center, entertainment center on a little bit of a budget. You know what? Give me the TV that might turn off every once in a while, but it's really big and it'll go on.
The remote still work. No cracks in the TV. We good.
I'll use the app. Don't worry about the remote. I'll use the app.
Bring that on over here.
Yeah, I think that's some of the place that you put yourself in. And the 10 pick is going to be one of those things that gives you a little bit more room to negotiate it, but you still got some negotiation to do.